I never worried about likable or unlikable. I worried about trying to get him right, which included making the mistakes, as big and as ugly as they were, as authentic as possible. Dumb and Dumber was a strategic career move because I knew I could do comedy, and up to that point, Purple Rose of Cairo, Something Wild, I'd kind of shown I could do it. But I wasn't a comedian, so therefore I wasn't allowed to do big comedy movies. This was, no, I can do comedy. Let me stand next to Jim Carrey, one of the best at it. He had Ace Ventura had been out and been a hit, and he had already just shot Mask. Hollywood knew that Jim was about to explode. His next movie was going to be Dumb and Dumber with Pete and Bobby Farrelly. Studio wanted a comedian to, you know, that's what you do in big comedy movies. And Jim wanted an actor who would make him listen, who would react, who would get it. It's a buddy-buddy movie, Jim. I said, I can't. A comedian will just try to top me, and then we're into that. And that's not what this is. There's a heart to this. There's these two guys. They're stupid as hell, but there's a heart to them. I got the role, and I was aware that others wanted someone else. But I knew that Jim, Pete, and Bobby Farrelly wanted me. So we all went to Breckenridge, Colorado to start shooting. And the first morning, we shot The Scooter. Me and Jim driving down the mountain pass, and I say, I gotta pee, and he says, just go, man. That was the first morning, first day, pulling into Aspen, supposedly, and the snot coming down, getting off the scooter. That was morning one. Jim didn't work the rest of the week. We went to the lodge, we did the chairlift on the pole with the tongue on the pole.
Oh look, Frost.
We did the tongue sitting there getting pulled off. We did going into the ski lodge, crashing the skis. Jim's not working. Now we do the snowball in the head. Now we get to Thursday and Friday, and Jim hasn't worked yet. And I may be in Dumb and Dumber, but I'm not stupid. The audition is still going on. I come to find out they're going to assemble these scenes featuring me, and we're all somewhere going to look at them over the weekend. And somebody is on call. Somebody who's a comedian is waiting to hear whether he's going to go do the movie or not. Nobody told me, but you could feel it. Maybe I'm just hallucinating. I don't know. Maybe I'm being paranoid. I don't know. Okay. I wait Sunday. I get the call. See you Monday morning, 6 a.m. Huh. Maybe I'm wrong. Go into makeup Monday morning. Now we're shooting a scene with me and Jim. Jim walks into the makeup trailer, pats me on the shoulder, leans in and says, just keep doing what you're doing. They love you. Kept walking. Jim Carrey's a friend to this day. He stood up for me, and he's one of the great friends I got in this business.
Hi, Lloyd. Hi, Harry.
There were moments, very few, where Jim would go off. And one of the few was, you want to hear the most annoying sound in the world? That was in the middle of a take, what's he doing? And then he does it, and then I just repeated what he was doing, because when in doubt, repeat Jim.
Want to hear the most annoying sound in the world?
And that was kind of it. That was, I don't remember other improv stuff. I mean, Jim would try stuff. And like the sword fight, come in the blue and orange tuxedos, that was take 7. There were 6 takes before that where we started per script that Pete and Bobby had written with Jim. So they kind of had already improv their way into this. We want this. All 3 of them. So that was kind of set. We did it as written, coming in with the orange and blue, psh, psh, like that, boom, go in, cut. That's take 1. Take 2, psh, 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 he does me, boom, boom, 3, 4, 5, 6. We do something until finally about 6 or 7, he goes, let's have a sword fight. What do you mean? Yeah, a sword fight. And then we walk in. Okay, last take. Pete, one more. I got an idea. Okay. And then, so Jim doesn't surprise you with it. He'll say, let's do this together. And so the last one was the one they used, take 7, which was sword fight, come in, I'll knock your head off, and then you whack me in the back of the leg. Got it. Great, boom. And that takes it, we're done, cut, good. And they used the last one. But they had 7 versions of it, which is the fun of film acting, and the fun of film acting with Jim.
Ivan is fine, but he's not a serious guy. He's a Philistine.
What's a Philistine?
It's a guy who doesn't care about books or interesting films and things. Your mother's brother Ned is also a Philistine.
Squid and the Whale is a father-son story in one sense. Certainly Noah Baumbach was writing about his own father in ways, many ways. He had a father that was grander in his own mind than he was to anyone else. Self-published. I read one of his books and it was dense as hell. I mean, you couldn't even get through it. And yet he felt himself on a par with people like Norman Mailer, others. And it's just this disillusionment and how he kind of took some of that bitterness and anger and rage and kind of dumped it on his kids and family, and it was their fault kind of thing, typical artist.
Sorry, my nose is running.
I'm your teacher.
I've wondered for a long time what it would be like to fuck you.
I was surprised when Noah Baumbach informed me that the student that I was going to be having an affair with was Anna Paquin. I'm going, really? Because I had done a movie with her about 10 years earlier called Fly Away Home when she was 12, playing my daughter. I go, Noah, he goes, I know. Weeks later, we're shooting the scene. And Fly Away Home was a movie about taking a whole bunch of Canadian geese and flying them south on their migratory route and all that. And it's a wonderful, beautiful family film and with the geese, and it was a really good movie. I liked that one a lot. Carol Ballard directed that. Caleb Deschanel was the DP. It's a beautiful movie. Weeks later, we're shooting one of the scenes in Squid and the Whale, and I'm up in an upstairs bedroom with my student with whom I'm having the affair, and it's Anna Paquin. I have my hands up her shirt on her breasts. The door opens and my son looks in and sees this. And she's all of 22 and I'm 50, whatever I am. And we're standing there and they're going, all right, hold 1 second. We're making a lighting adjustment. And Anna's like looking like this, I'm like looking like this. I look out the window and I go, Anna, look, geese. Newsroom was flat out a chance to get into television in a big way with Aaron Sorkin. I loved West Wing, I loved his writing, and was happy that Aaron Sorkin wanted me. James Gandolfini did God of Carnage with me on Broadway, and I told him, I said, I'm thinking of getting into television. The movies are starting to dry up. And he goes, well, if you're going to get into television, get yourself a good writer. I got David Chase. That's what you need. And I got lucky. Aaron Sorkin wanted me. Then I knew I was okay. Then I knew I was in. And then all I had to do was work my ass off and keep it.
There is absolutely no evidence to support the statement that we're the greatest country in the world. We're 7th in literacy, 27th in math, 22nd in science, 49th in life expectancy, 178th in infant mortality, 3rd in median household income, number 4 in labor force, and number 4 in exports. We lead the world in only 3 categories: number of incarcerated citizens per capita, number of adults who believe angels are real, and defense spending.
In Newsroom, I got to do that now famous speech, infamous to some, that America is not the greatest country in the world. That speech came later. It wasn't in the pilot initially. And about 2 weeks before we started shooting, Aaron said, we need to see what happened at Northwestern when Will went to speak. We can't just talk about what happened in the past. And so he wrote that speech. And I had 2 weeks to learn it. He rewrote it a little bit, changed some numbers and this and that, but I knew it when I got it. That was the speech that I've been waiting 35 years to do. And you got to hit a home run with it. It was shot on day 3 of an 18-day shoot for the pilot. There was no guarantee we had a series. Even Aaron Sorkin, people bigger than Aaron Sorkin have gotten turned down by HBO. This was a key day because on today we're going to find out not only do we have a Will McAvoy, but do we have a show? Because this is placed in the first 5 minutes of the first episode when America's still sitting there with their remote trying to decide whether they want to stay with us or not. So we got to throw a knockout punch to them in the first 5-10 minutes. That day, number 2, 3, and 4 from HBO came out, which is a set, which is like an hour and a half away from L.A. Sam Waterston, Olivia Munn, Tom Sadowski showed up. Sam later said, I just wanted to see if I was going to have a job or not. It was all on me. And so I worked my ass off on it. First take, I hit it out of the park. I know that because Aaron walked over and said to me after take 1, he goes, okay, you're pitching a no-hitter. I'm not going to talk to you. And he walked away. That was great. Then I knew I had a role. I pretty much, with Aaron's help, saved my career and that everybody had a job. I had done Purple Rose of Cairo with Woody. I kind of was, oh, who's this guy? Who's this guy? And I got to go up on this, just to a meeting, not an audition, a meeting with Jonathan Demme, who some breakfast joint on the Upper West Side of New York City, and he you know, in that Midwest straight-laced guy that he needed for Charlie Driggs, that was I could do that in spades. You know, my heroes that I leaned on at that point were Jack Lemmon and Dick Van Dyke. Charlie Driggs is the child of Jack Lemmon and Dick Van Dyke. And Demme, he really said, we used the script as an outline. I don't do improv. I'm not good at it. But Jonathan really just make up something as you're, just say, and there was a lot of that going on. And that was an education in how to, you mean I don't have to say what's written? Well, what am I gonna say? And you're playing you kind of learn how to kind of improv your way through scenes, and Jonathan was all about that. He also had such an enthusiasm for making movies. You could give Jonathan Demme 10 grand to make his movie or 100 million. He'd have the same enthusiasm. He never said no. Yeah, try it. Let's try it. Yeah. Good idea. Don't tell me. Just do it. I mean, he was that guy. He had such a freedom to let people just go, do it, try it. We can just throw it away, go. Maybe it'll work. That was great. I miss him.
I got a lot of things on my mind, you know, business things, and I simply forgot, that's all.
You deliberately walked out without paying that check.
I did not. Here, come on, just take the money and, you know, and keep the change and...
Fine, maybe you'd like to tell a cop.
No, don't. Just...
One of the ways that he wanted to get Charlie Driggs to be likable was to, Jonathan had me call people by their names. Being kind to strangers, you run the risk of them being kind to you. That was Charlie. So you have a waitress, you call her by her name. And not superficially or something, you just generally, you know, he was a good person trying to reach out. And he was friendly. He was just friendly. And friendly got Charlie in trouble. Is anything to worry about? I mean, come on, fellas. I mean, do I look like the kind of guy who would run out on a check? I mean, come on. You guys. When I got the script in terms of Endearment, you know, Jim Brooks wrote it. He's so smart. He's such a smart writer. He took it from Larry McMurtry's book, but then Brooks would do his thing on it. And so you've got two great writers that have already had their hands all over this story. It reminded me of doing, at that point in my career, doing a really well-written play. And that was familiar to me. I had done some Lanford Wilson plays, and I had done some badly written plays. And this was not that. It ain't going to be about the writing failing, so you might want to get to work on flap and hold up your end. That's what I remember thinking, especially when you got Deborah Winger and Shirley MacLaine and Jack Nicholson. And you've got some great people in this. You don't want to be, you know, that thing, what's wrong with this picture? And you're it. You don't want to be that guy. I'm not doing anything.
Oh, no.
Yes, you
Please,
are.
I hate it when you get this unhappy, okay? We go through this stage every time.
No, don't change the subject.
What's the subject?
Getting to play Flap Horton in terms of endearment. This is a whole bunch of people passed on this because the guy was so unlikable. And in Hollywood, that's a dirty word. Certainly among the actors who passed on it. I had no problem with it. You know, and again, I think this comes out of off-Broadway and theater, and you play people, warts and all. It's not until you get into the movies and television where you have to worry about things like being likable and redeeming yourself at the, you know. So I didn't see any of that. You get to play these elements of human nature, the successes as well as the failings. And Flap failed. And so you get to construct that and play that as if it's your own little 3-act play. You know, the tragedy of Flap Horton. I never worried about likable or unlikable. I worried about trying to get him right, which included making the mistakes, as big and as ugly as they were, as authentic as possible.
I haven't really talked to the kids yet. I'm not sure how much they realize, but they know something bad is happening.
Flap, Patsy wants to raise Melanie, and maybe the boys. I think they should be with me, don't you?
After Purple Rose and Terms of Endearment, even Something Wild came out and nobody saw it. It was gone in 2 weeks from the theaters. They marketed it like a Chevy Chase comedy, which it sort of is, kind of, until the third act, and then it goes dark. The critics didn't know what to make of Something Wild, and then we were gone. I did a couple of independent movies after that I liked the scripts a lot. One of them nobody saw, and the other one didn't come out. So I needed a movie that people saw. My agent said, well, there's this thing called Arachnophobia. Frank Marshall's, he's a producer. He's going to direct for the first time, but it's Spielberg's company. And if this is, yes, I'll say, yes, I'm in. I did it. And it was fun. It was, you're working with animals, and it's a bit of a horror film, but it's Amblin Entertainment. It's Spielberg, it's Frank, it's Kathy Kennedy, it's the A-Team. The crew were all the people that worked on Spielberg movies. They were now working for Frank to help Frank get into the directing. I mean, it was the catering. It was just, oh my God, this is what movies are. This is great. You love that. And we're on the Warner Brothers lot shooting the interior. It was great. It was fun to do and great people. And then the spiders. You got to deal with the spiders. But if that was the only hurdle, that was fine. I had a great time making that.
Are you okay? It's okay.
The hell was that?
There were a lot of spiders. This was early 90s. No, late 80s. Arachnophobia came out. So the animatronics, the effects, what is now done on computer so well, we were just north of those movies where black and white and horrible. We were just north of that on the animatronic stuff, They had such a problem with Shark and Jaws, and nowadays, occasionally, it was best if we could use a real spider in this shot. Well, what do you mean? Well, right now we're throwing a spider on your shirt, right? Which is fine. I said okay to that. And they've got him like glued on a fishing line, and a guy's off camera doing like that, and the spider, boom, comes and lands on my shirt. Terrific. Cut. Great. And I go, oh, cut. Problem was I was wearing a brown plaid shirt, and when the spider landed, you could see him, but not as well as they wanted to. Frank Marshall, the director, came up and said, is it possible? Could we toss the spider onto your face? Okay. You want to be in movies? Yes. I'm in it for the glamour. Yes. 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 Here's a new experience. Here's an adventure. Go. Take two. Boom. And the guy's off there, and I'm going, where are they? And then whoop. Boom, lands right there. You can feel it moving. 1,000, 2,000, 3, boom, get it off, go. Cut it! Thanks, Jeff. That's lunch, everybody. That's how it went.
Ross! Come on. This doesn't make sense. They're swarming. I've never seen them this aggressive.
I think they're chasing us.
Jack. Shoot the hostage.
What?
Take her out of the equation. Go for the good wound and he can't get to the plane with her. Clear shot.
You're deeply nuts, you know that?
On Speed, there was a little bit of training, not a lot. We had an actual SWAT guy who, taught us how to hold the guns going down. You learn enough to do what you're asked to do. Sometimes you can go into training and, you know far too much, and then in the script, you're only asked to do about 10% of that. So why don't you train on the 10% and understand how to do that? Make sure you get that right, so that the SWAT guys watching the movie, in this case Speed, are going, yeah, no, that's how you do it. Yeah, that's what you want. That's all you want.
Give it up! You got nowhere to go!
Shoot the hostage.
Say goodbye, Harry.
Speed was a job. Every career has got jobs. And then you've got the ones that you really wanted and you worked for and blah, blah, blah. But Keanu was terrific. Got to meet Dennis Hopper, work with Dennis Hopper a little bit. But it was an action movie that I just happened to be in. Yeah. American Rust is a deep dive into good people stuck at the bottom, doing whatever they can to survive. And Del Harris is one of those people. The breaks did not go their way. That doesn't mean they're bad people. They just had bad luck. It happens. Their dreams didn't come true. And America is full of these people. And we've tried with American Rust to draw an authentic, accurate, heartfelt, yearn for these people to succeed, to have some kind of success, to have things fall right for them finally. Get people to kind of lean into these people, to see them bounce back. And it's a tough go. It's based on a great book by Philip Meyer. It's a corner of the country that actually is all over this country.